Welcome to Monday Jazz and Conversation, presented by a collaboration of 4 nonprofit organizations: Gold Coast Jazz Society, South Florida Jazz, Sunshine Jazz Organization, and the Miami Jazz Cooperative, all of whom are dedicated to bringing jazz to South Florida audiences. Each Monday, Wendy Peterson and Nikki Orta feature the music and talk to the country's most talented and interesting jazz musicians.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome John Fedchuk to the hang.
Hi, everybody. Great to be here.
The amazing and beautiful and the world's best person, Brenda Alford.
Ooh, hi, Brenda.
Live up to that.
Okay, I got some living to do.
Please welcome to Jazz and Conversation the amazing Joe Donato. Joey D!
Hello.
How are you? I'm so
Good evening,
sad
ladies and
that
gentlemen.
we gave
This
you
is Ralph
stress.
Edwards, and tonight, it's Joe Donato. This is your life.
And now, the hosts of Monday Jazz and Conversation, Wendy Peterson and Nikki Orta.
Hello, folks. We're hoping that all of you out there in the stream can see and hear us. Please let us know if you're hearing us.
You are our best help and,
That's right.
and hope, I think.
Because we were trying to, we're good? Yes. Yes, perfect. All righty then.
Good evening. Thank you for your patience.
It's always an adventure, we say.
We are, as always, super excited tonight because we've got some really great guests, some special surprises, and we're going to learn everything that there is possible to know about Matt Bonelli tonight.
That's been our goal lately with the interviews, just to get the dirt.
We're going to dig deep. That's what we're going to do. We're going to find out all the nitty-gritty details,
Can't
all
wait.
the dirt. But we're here to celebrate Matt Bonelli and everything that he's done for and has been to the community for so many years, and we're gonna unwrap him like a beautiful Christmas present. That's what I'm hoping. That's my goal tonight.
Wow. Very lovely. So we have, first of all, look at that face. Look at that beautiful picture by Philip Avello, who we're going to be looking at some of his other great shots of Matt that he got. But the big deal is that we have, in addition to all the info and dirt that we're going to dig up on Matt and interviews and little clips, we have some live performing happening. And I think we should maybe just get it started, right?
Yes. Without further ado, let's do it.
This is the Matt Bonelli Trio.
All right. Is everybody ready?
I think we're ready to go.
Go for it. Celebrating the Rocket Man, Matt Bonelli. Packed his bags last night, pre-flight, 0 hour, 9 a.m. And I'm gonna be high as a kite by then. He missed the earth so much, he misses his wife. Just his job 5 days a week. No one there to raise him if you did. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. Touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man I think I am at home. Oh no, 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 I'm a rocket man. Oh, rocket man, burning up the fuse up here alone. Mars ain't the kind of place to raise your kids. In fact, it's cold as hell, and there's no one there to raise them if you did. science I don't understand. It's just my job 5 days a week. A rocket man, yeah, a rocket man. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. Touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man that think I am at home. Oh, no, 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 I'm a rocket man. Oh, rocket man, burning at the breeze up here below. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. Touchdown brings me round again to find not the man that think I am at home. Oh, no, 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 I'm a rocket man. Oh, rocket man, burning up the fuse up here below. Oh, and I think it's gonna be a long, long time. Yeah, and I think it's gonna be a long, long time. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. Oh, and I think it's gonna be a long time, a long time. In my life, nothing seems so right as to be with you. And when I'm with you, I always sing you're everything. And as time goes by, floating like a bird am I. Even songbirds I know all sing you're everything. Yeah. In my life, nothing seems so right as to be with you. And when I'm with you, you always sing you're everything. And as time goes by, floating like a bird am even songbirds I know all sing. You're everything. Oh, days are so much fun, an awful life and an awful times again. And as we go, listen to the sun in time, and as time goes by, floating like a bird am I. Even songbirds I know all sing. You're everything. Nothing seems so right as to be with you. And when I'm with you, I always sing, you're everything. And as time goes by, floating like a bird am I. Even songbirds I know all sing, you're everything. Oh, days are so much fun, awful life and an awful times again. And as we go dancing to the sun in time, and as time goes by, floating like a bird am I. Even songbirds I know all sing, you're everything. Whoa. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you. One, two, three, four. I see you move, checking your style, getting your back like it's going out of style. Come just a little bit closer, come just a little now, girl. I'm dying to meet you, let's mess around. Got an obsession, it's getting us down. Come just a little bit closer, I just need permission, so give me the green light. Give me just one night. Oh, ready to go right now. Ready to go right now. have a girlfriend? Technically, no. You'll be my girlfriend and we'll make it so. Come just a little bit closer. No competition, no others. Baby, it's just the thrill of the chase. Got an old feeling that I'm winning this race. Come just a little bit closer. I just need permission, so give me the green light. Give me just one night. Ready to go right now. Ready to go right now. We can go all night. Give me the green light. Ready to go right now. Ready to go right now. What you dance like. If I be your buddy, help you study, get your head right. Whoa, whoa. 1, 2, 3, red light. I wanna see what you dance like. If I be your buddy, help you study, get your head right. Give me the green light. Give me just one night. Whoa, ready to go right now. Ready to go right now. We can go all night. Give me the green light. Ready to go right now. Ready to go right now. Give me the green light. All right.
All right. I think we are now going to bring. Guys, you can take a break.
Except for
Matt. He's on the hot seat all night. Yeah, that's right.
But Matt, you're gonna go. Okay, so everything sounds all right.
Everything sounds all right.
You're gonna put the this up when you come back.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to take care of some things. Wendy's going to inform you about some important announcements that she has to make.
Okay, perfect. So Nikki's going to set up for the interview where you have to like move the couch and move the camera and set up a microphone and this whole thing. It's all magic behind the scenes, you know. But what I do want to say is, you know, we have this little thing that I know it's like one of the things that I hate even talking about, but we have a thing, a virtual tip jar, and we always want to support our musicians. This is like a gig for everybody. We want to make sure everybody gets paid. And since we're celebrating Matt Bonelli, we want to send him on his way with, at least enough to buy a really nice dinner or spend a night away at a romantic hotel or getaway or something. I don't know. So what you have to do is text the word tip jar to the number 44321. So this gets a little complicated, and it's actually not complicated, but some people, I think, have a problem with it because they text tip, they put in the recipient thing tip jar, and then they put the number 44321 in the message section, and it's completely the opposite way. So the number that you're actually sending it to is 44321, and the message that you are sending is tip jar. And what that does is it sends you an immediate message back, and it gives you a very, very, very secure link to put money in the tip jar. And you can use PayPal, you can use a credit card, but it's very secure and it's safe. So, I've done it many times, and I know it works. So, Nikki's telling me that I have to keep going. Is that what you're saying? You're trying to see what that looks like? Oh, that looks kind of good.
That's good.
Yeah. So if you would do that, that would be amazing. The first $100 will be matched. And like I said, this is just showing the love to our favorite Matt Bonelli and these musicians too, because everybody needs to get paid, not just Matt. But we love seeing all your comments. It's a lot of fun, and it just shows Matt like exactly who's watching and who's out there. So feel free to just chime in and say, hey Matt, congratulations, whatever it is. And so once again, I'm just going to say it one more time. Text the word tip jar to the number 44321. First $100 will be matched. All of the money goes at the end of the night to the musicians. We don't do any processing fees or whatever. Everything goes. So are we ready? We good? I can stop talking incessantly about this.
I just want to see how long you can keep going.
Oh, I can keep going.
I know.
I don't like to keep going, but I will keep going.
You're pretty good at this. Let's find out if.
I'm gonna just bring him in.
I think you should just bring him in.
Okay, everybody in the room needs to be quiet. Oh, I actually just yelled that. I'm sorry. My mic is loud, but I think everybody's out here thinking that it's like some kind of social hour.
Isn't it?
No. So watch. Okay, I don't want to get into reprimand mode, but I will if I have to.
Class.
Everybody. So anyway, Matt Bonelli.
Matt Bonelli.
Hello.
Bonelli.
Hello.
Where is he?
He's over there. Go watch.
Lady.
Can you do that at least just once? We can just get it out of the way.
Actually, I considered it often. Lady. We're done. Now I fried the input. Okay.
Yeah, the
You want me to
microphone.
get closer and do that?
There we go.
Hi.
That carries.
All righty.
So Matt
Yes, sir.
Bonelli.
Yes, ma'am.
You were from a musical family?
I am. My father was a pianist and taught piano lessons in our house in the basement. And my oldest brother played piano and snare drum and a little bit of saxophone and bass guitar. He tried everything, but he was a pianist first and foremost.
Okay.
And my brother John was a drummer
Yeah.
and a singer. Great
Yeah.
singer.
One of the things that we, one of the messages we got in our feed when we were, talking about this, the show, was from Holly Spillane talking about how your dad taught the Pastorius twins.
Yes.
And how it was just like your dad was like a hero to Ingrid and the boys because, they were like, didn't have a father figure in their lives. And it was like a really big deal. Like, just so you know,
Well, you know what? I knew that he taught them, but it was like at a family dinner, maybe a Thanksgiving or something. He said, "Hey, you know this bass guy? I'm teaching his kids, you know." And it was, and like my jaw hit the floor. It's like, "You're teaching who?" You know. And then I kind of got to know both of them, Felix a little bit better than Julius over the years. And it was the irony is that he taught them and Jocko taught me. So it was like a kind of thing
big
happened
circle.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Did so? When did you pick up the bass? Was it your first instrument?
No, I flunked out of piano lessons with my father.
Okay.
He was, you know, my brothers already had gone through this, so it was my turn. I don't know if I was 7 or 8, maybe.
You're the baby?
I'm the baby.
Okay.
You can tell. No. But a long story short was he started giving me piano lessons, and I would do it because I got to hang with him by myself in a room with the piano, you know. And then he would say, "Okay, great, well, I want you to work on this and this and this for the next week." And I wouldn't even thinking about it until a half hour before the lesson the next week. And then I would go in and like, bada boom, bada bing, bada bing. Okay, that's good enough. And then, of course, he could tell that I hadn't worked on it. So after a longer than I would have put up with it, he said, "You know what? Let me know when you want to be serious about it. No more piano lessons." And then about 3 weeks later, the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan.
Oh, okay.
So that changed.
No piano in that group.
There was no piano in that group, but there were 2 guys that were doing this, and there was one guy doing this, so I knew what this was, you know. But how come the other guy was? So we had a dear friend, Frank Carrillo, who was in a little band with my 2 brothers, accordion, guitar, and drums.
Oh my.
No accordion jokes. Anyway, so I asked, "How come that guitar is going the other way?" And he told me, "Well, it's not a guitar, it's a bass." And I went, "Oh." And then I kind of noticed in other bands that were coming out that there were a bunch of guitar players, there was a piano player, there was a drummer, and there was only one bass player. So I thought, well, every band has to have a bass. This is before keyboard left pinky stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So then I begged my father for bass lessons because I knew he couldn't teach me and my brothers couldn't teach me. Long story short, and I hope he's listening, he had a friend that was a jazz guitar player, Dom Manassi, who's still alive and well in New York and amazing. So he hired him to come and give me bass lessons and told him, "Listen, I'm only renting the bass for a month. He's not going to practice. Throw him out." So after 2 months, my father goes, "Hey, Dom, what's going on, man? You know, you're still teaching it." So he said, "Why don't you come to the lesson and tell me what you want to do?" So he
Was this on
writing
upright?
out.
Sorry.
go ahead.
Was this on upright?
No, this was on electric bass.
Okay.
So he was writing out like simple bass lines to standards, and because he was a guitar player, great guitar player. So I would, go boom, 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 and he would practice for an hour and like blow all this great music. But I learned how to play with somebody by doing it. So my father came in and we played through like 3 songs, and he went, "Okay, keep teaching." So we did that for a little while. The upright I started in middle school. There was a string class, and he had like a jobber that he bought music supplies for his studio from. So he had a cheap bass, so I got this bass and I played in orchestra. That was really interesting because I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
But as it turns out, the teacher I had was a great violin player who also played gigs around Long Island, and I'm still in touch with him. He's in Boca now, and he's still Sammy Weber. Hey, Sam. He's still teaching and he's still playing and all kinds of crazy stuff. So fortunately for me, those 2 guys who were kind of important are still around.
Right.
But that's kind of how it all started. And then, again, I was the younger brother and there were no other bass players. So my brother's friends would come over and knock on the door and say to my mother, "Mrs. Bonelli, would it be okay if we brought Matt to our gig Friday night?" So I started playing like rock cover gigs when I was in middle school, and they would have to pick me up and drive me to the gig and bring me home. And my mother and father would go to sleep. My 2 brothers were in the living room going, "Do you know what time it is?" But that's kind of how I started.
That's
and then
great.
from there, it just kind of mushroomed.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And you knew, so by this point that you're doing gigs, or progressing, you knew that was what it was going to be for you?
My whole career has been a stream of dumb luck.
Yeah.
I never even
I hear
thought
ya.
about what do I want to be when I grow up. It was just kind of like this was happening. I was having a blast doing it. Everything was fresh and new. And the other thing about growing up in this house was, my mother would iron and listen to like Steve and Edie or Sinatra or Mel Torme or whatever, and my father was playing all the, American songbook tunes with his band, his group, and my brothers were listening to, Beatles and Rolling Stones and Blood, Sweat and Tears and
Right.
all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of like, it separated the dividing line between this is this kind of music and this is that kind of music. It was just all music to me.
Right.
And I think that really hit home, and I enjoyed that, and I still do. I'm much happier playing with 3 different sets of people playing 3 different styles of music than I have ever been in one band that only does this stuff.
Right.
I don't know. I think it's the challenge. It makes you a little bit more varied and smooth.
Oh, yes.
You're smooth.
It just gives you a whole different perspective.
Yeah. And when did the jazz kind of seep in?
Well, it was Dom, but then my brothers had some friends, a great saxophone player in Long Island, Richie Scolo, who used to play these gigs with us, John Mosca, who played with the Thad Jones Band, trombone player. And I would hear these guys play, and we would play the same kind of tunes every week, but then they would play improvise these solos, and it was like, wow, those were cool.
Right.
That was really, how do you do that? And so I got introduced to it that way. As a young kid, my father would take me with him on gigs, just because he didn't want to drive by himself. It would be like an Italian festival in Brooklyn.
Right.
And I remember he had these friends, and they were all great guys, of course, and they were really good at what they did. But this one time, this was one of the first times I got goosebumps for music. They were playing a street festival, and they're on the steps of the church, and they're playing the Nat King Cole song "Love," L-O-V-E,
Yeah.
right? And the trumpet player was coming from his day gig. I think it was a Saturday afternoon thing. So the band started, and he wasn't there yet. And he came walking up the steps and went inside the church to change out of his suit and just put a casual shirt on. And as they started that tune, right, he's still in the church. He walks out the door with his trumpet in his hand and plays the solo off the record.
Wow.
And I was like,
And you had heard
where
the
did that come from?
And you had heard the record enough that
at home,
Yeah.
yeah. And I knew it was, maybe it wasn't completely note for note, but
Yeah.
it was damn close.
Yeah.
It was the same melodic improvisation.
Yeah.
So that was a goosebump moment for me. It was
Yeah.
like, okay, and they were just kind of all just having a good time, and
Yeah, it was
So
like nothing, just
that's
another
kind of
gig.
when
Yeah.
the bug started to hit me, and then doing gigs with friends and my middle school / high school garage band. We would rehearse in somebody's basement and then go play at a church gig or whatever. So the variety and the camaraderie. My father and his friends always laughed and had a blast.
Yeah.
When they
Well, you make that for all of us when we're on a gig with you too. I mean, that's part of it. When we know you're going to be on the gig, it's like, oh my God, it's going to be such a fun gig.
As opposed to?
As
Ouch. I went downhill fast.
as opposed to it's really going to groove tonight.
Hey, I want to pick up that story from where you left off. But we have had people sending in little greetings and pictures. So let me see what I can.
While he's doing that,
up
I was
here.
going to ask you. I didn't ask, but you didn't grow up in Miami. I'm assuming.
No, I grew up in Long Island, New York.
Okay. Yeah.
And then came down senior year of high school. So that was like a whole, you can imagine high school, that was traumatic, but it was more like a musical void.
Right, because all of the guys, your band,
Yeah.
your hang was gone.
And I went into the high school and met with the band director, and I said, so what period is orchestra? And she said, we don't have orchestra. And I was like, get me a train ticket home, So, but fortunately, I still had my father, and I had all the records. So I just listed and shedded, and then I met guys in school that played. So I started to kind of get things going. But as far as professionally and playing gigs and all that, that was all out the box.
Right.
You know.
All right. So so here's our first little greeting. Here you go.
Oh boy.
So we're celebrating Matt Bonelli's retirement, and I just want to say I met Matt in 1973, in the fall of 1973, at the University of Miami, walking into the Foster building. There used to be a fold-out table on the side, and Matt and Danny Gottlieb were sitting there, and I struck up a conversation with them, asked them a couple of questions. Before you know it, they were inviting me to bowl. They wanted to go bowling. I did not go bowling. Even though there's a great story with me, Matt, Lyle Mays, and Danny Gottlieb, that's another bowling at Bird Bowl. That's another story. Anyway, when Matt got back from around 1974, when he got back from LA, or 75, we became closer and better friends. And I've always looked at Matt as a big brother. His family was great. They would always invite me to Thanksgivings, and I would get some nice bacala from them after Christmas. Oh man, good stuff. Anyway, I just want to congratulate Matt on his retirement and 48 years of friendship. All the best to you, man. Love you. Bye.
There you go.
Yeah, thanks, Jack.
And Jack Ciano, great drummer. He sent some pics as well. Might as well take a look, see if you remember any of these. I know, you know.
Yeah, he was playing with, he and Dennis Marks were playing with Ed Kai at Ball and Chain. So I actually had a night off, and I went to hear them play, and we got to take this picture.
Oh, that's something bass players don't generally. We don't ever get to hang.
Absolutely.
So, and here's some other pics that he sent.
That's at school. It's Miami-Dade in the rehearsal hall. It's Jack and me, and the guitarist is Stan Simoli. He was down visiting his family, and he graciously consented to come out to school and play with us for other students.
Nice. Oh, look at that! Look at that crew.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
So this was Rod Globman's memorial
I don't know why that's there.
on South Beach. Steve Parsons put this whole thing together, and he contacted Jack to see if he could put together a little band to just kind of play as people were coming in, and maybe in the middle. I forget what we did, but it was Jackson King, Jackson King and Jack and Rob Friedman and myself, and that's Will Lee in the middle.
Yeah. I don't know why that little hand is in front of Jack's eye, but it's pretty darn cool.
He must have taken a screenshot.
It must have been a screenshot. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Nice.
He's got a little itch that he's trying to scratch. And oh, here you go, in the zone clearly.
Yeah.
That's Rick Katz. That's a jazz co-op gig at the open stage with Dan Bonsani's Jazz 14 Orchestra, and it's just a picture of Jack and I.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
So anyway, that's
It's also Philip.
Yeah, Phil Avello.
Another Philip Avello shot. We'll take a look at some of his pics in a little while. Anyway, so did we get to the upright? When did that happen? Soon after?
Well, he was already playing upright in the orchestra.
Oh, so
It was in middle school,
Right.
like 8th grade, I guess, maybe. I played in the string class
Right.
for 2 years, and then I did it all through high school.
Yeah.
My orchestra.
Did you like when you say orchestra? You're talking about classical?
Yeah,
Did you like that?
I did. My high school orchestra teacher was a principal player in the New York Opera, and he had buddies that were at Music and Art in Manhattan, and he wanted me to audition to go there, and I said, "No, man, I'm moving to Florida," and he lost his mind. You're doing what? But that's one of those things that happens.
So we have some comments. Michelle Amato wrote, "Your mom's playlist is why you could play all those tunes at the Drow." And
That's right.
and who was it? Somebody wanted to know the story about for you to tell the story about the blue shirt. I don't know what the blue shirt thing means.
There's a
Is there something you can talk about?
Yeah, this one I can tell. There's a band leader that many of us played with, my generation, these guys didn't play with, named Jerry Wayne. And when he had put the band together, he had Dave Drubin and Ed Mena and Bob Whitlock in the band. And he would call them and he would give them directions to the gig and blah, 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 be there 45 minutes early, the whole thing. And blah, 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 call me back, my number, which they all knew, but he'd give it to them again. Anyway, and he would say, "Oh yeah, and blue shirt." for the tuxedo, not a white shirt, not a green shirt, but a blue shirt. So the joke became, hey, am I going to see you Saturday? Yeah, okay, great, I'm on the gig. Okay, blue shirt. So that's like an ongoing shirt. Even Jerry does that now, so it's,
That is so funny.
because he might be out there somewhere. Hi, Jerry.
That was the
Blue
uniform.
shirt. Oh, I'm wearing a blue shirt.
You
So
are
there you
right.
go.
That's what somebody commented at the beginning of the night.
That's
Look,
probably
he's
why
wearing a
David
blue
took
shirt.
that,
Yeah. And Kevin Canfield just said, "Fix a flat." I don't
Fix
know.
a flat.
Yeah, I
Is
can't
that-
tell that story.
That's not
Okay.
no.
That's one of the ones you can't tell. All right, I like it.
I can tell you guys later, but
When we go off air, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Everybody call him personally.
right. His cell phone number. No, we don't want to do that.
He'll tell you the story.
or Kevin, call Kevin,
Oh,
or
there you
Jesse
go.
Jones Jr. or Johnny O.
Okay.
I'll tell you the story.
The story's gotten around.
You doing something? Another one?
Yeah, let's get another greeting in here, and we have a couple of interesting clips
Okay.
from this lovely person.
Hey Matt, congratulations on your retirement. It can truly be a beautiful thing. As you can see, I'm loving it and you will too. You are the golden retriever of all bass players. I miss you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Cheers. Talking over here.
Joy Francis, great vocalist,
Yes.
and I guess you've known her for a couple of years.
Yeah, yeah.
Now she did send something, which I guess we lovingly, let me just bring it up here, titled "Matt Saves the Day." So this is a gig that happened at Tavolino at some point in the
Pretty recent, I think, yeah.
past. And things happen on gigs. Actually, it happened on my last
Yes, it
Tavolino
did.
gig. Where whatever you start a song and things don't go like you were expecting it to, and what do? You do what you have to do. But in this clip, I'm guessing there was a key issue. A key issue. The emphasis is everything. But let's see how this all pans out in the end. But it is called Matt Saves the Day, so I'm guessing there's a happy ending in here.
Yeah.
Will never be a time when I'm choosing you. We did it. In B flat?
Saying?
Wait a minute. I'm saying, yeah, he was saying that's what happens when you work once every 3 years.
Right.
I love the fact that she sent that because
I know.
she
You would think she would have burnt it by now.
Exactly. But it is true, you
Well,
know.
imagine the things that people have on you. No, but see, that was good, man. You just waited for everybody to pitch in, not solve it, and then you turned around and bang, done deal. Go base. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, that's so funny.
All right. So we have.
Yeah, Gary Lindsay's watching. Congratulations. Always remember your great playing and great stories. Everybody's recommending retirement. What's up with that?
I don't know. Give me a gig for crying out loud.
Do you have retirement plans?
No.
Good.
Because my entire life has been planned, so this is like, no, whatever happens, happens.
It's going to be a retirement.
You still want to play.
Oh, God, yes.
So the retirement really is just from teaching.
It's just from school, yeah.
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 I don't have to use an alarm clock anymore. The dog will suffice,
Right.
Take me out. But that's it.
Hey, I know that we're never going to cover everything, but I'm going to add my 2 cents because we did something in the early '90s, which I'm personally proud of, and I thought
Absolutely.
it was a great thing. Back in the day, both Matt and I were teaching over at it was MDCC then,
Right.
Miami-Dade Community College in the day, and this is before the days of electric bass conferences. Bass Day came out after we did it, but I think that you were aware of sort of upright bass conferences. I think that's how it really got started.
Yeah, there was the International Society of Bassists, which is still in existence, which is for like orchestral and chamber music and solo double bass, and there was some stuff at what used to be IAJE, which is now GEN, but it was like the electric bass stuff was always kind of like in the basement somewhere or like maybe next to the bathroom,
Right.
And when we did this in the 90s, by then, God, there were dozens of great players doing great music.
Right.
And, we did that together. We just kind of thought about it one day and said, well, we can do this. And this is before cell phones and even very primitive internet. It was like dial-up. You put somebody's thing in and wait like a week
Right.
to see if they're going through,
And yeah, I remember the first year, we just, that of course that was the hardest because,
Right.
you knew some people. So I remember we talked a little bit about who we were going to get. We decided we did want to have some locals. So at the time I was still studying with Vince Breedice.
Right.
And Don Kaufman was around, so we had him. And then you and I did some things. But we said, who would we want to get first? And who, this was all kind of out of pocket. We put together a company, F-Clef Bass Productions, whatever,
Right.
F-Clef Productions. And then I said, look, who can we call? Let's go for it because no one's going to know us anyway. So at the time, Patitucci had just left the electric band, John Patitucci.
Right.
And, I remember calling him up and, and what do? You say, hey, look, we're from Miami, we teach here, I know this guy, did the recording with whatever. And so he was nice enough to say, yeah, you knew Will Lee.
Right.
And even though you did, I ended up calling him for some reason. And, it was so funny because I thought he was a little like, well, what is this and who are you? And he ended up, but it didn't take long before it's like, look, Matt played with this, and so we knew people in common, and
Right.
and then he was on board, and he ended up they all ended up being just lovely, and then just like a left field thing, we had both been influenced by Louis Johnson,
Right.
From the brothers Johnson in the 70s and all, so. And at that point, he had played for the Michael Jackson recordings, and he did studio work, but he wasn't a solo
Right.
guy anymore. So we ended up having to search. Again, this is before cell phones, right? So we had to, figure out, Louis Johnson, L.A., and there was like 5 names, and you call everyone. It was one of those things.
I think you ended up looking on the back of a record jacket and
I think so.
counting the management company, which he was no longer with, but they somehow put us in touch with
Yep.
him or whatever.
And it turns out, so these 3 guys, did get back in touch with us, and we were able to get them, and that was our first year to get kicked off. And here's I have a picture of the posters from we did 3 years of them.
Right, that's it, yep.
So there's that first one on the left, and it was Louis, Will, and Patitucci. And then the next year, of course, was a little bit easier, right?
Right.
because you had done it
Yeah,
before.
and we were able to say, well, look, we had Patitucci last year and Will Lee, and so there was some credibility. And
the other thing that helped on the second year was Jim Roberts somehow became aware of it, and he was going to be part of it too. So that gave us a little bit more credibility.
And he was the editor of Bass Player magazine.
Right.
And he was a guest and did a great lecture, right, on the history of I guess, the Fender bass.
Right.
And then that became a book.
Yeah.
The year after, and he was nice enough to give both you and I credit on that.
Yep.
And again, we did have locals. We had Vince again, and Leo Huppert, and Kaufman again, and that year was Manring, Eddie Gomez, Gerald Beasley.
Right.
They were the big ones.
Yeah.
And then the final year that we did it, and then Bass Day came along, and that was the end of us.
Yeah.
Right, because they got all the sponsors in the world.
Right.
But
And
it was because of us that you.
And they did it in New York. And actually, I went to one of those. I was up there with the brothers, and I extended my trip and went to it. And as I was walking down the hall to the theater, Patitucci was in the lobby. He went, "Hey, I know you."
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So I think his experience with us maybe helped that all happen. But
No doubt.
why not?
All the bass players that we got, they were so gracious and wonderful.
Yeah.
That last year was Victor Wooten, Steve Bailey, Jimmy Haslip, and Gary Willis.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that I'm very, very proud of the work we did there, and you know, you were incredibly helpful, and working with you was, you know, just kind of like what we're doing now. It's always just a hang. It never felt like business.
Absolutely.
And here are a couple more picks that I wanted to get, and there's from the first year.
Oh my goodness.
With all the guys, Will and John and Lewis. And that year we also did a bass ensemble. We did a lot of duty, right? I mean, we were playing and organizing and setting up rooms. So there's
Nothing better than a good bass ensemble.
Wow. That just sounded so dishonest. Mark Bogan, Rafael Valencia, Leo Huppert. There's Matt. And I'm on the end there, and Kaufman was the fearless leader. I titled
Almost everybody has mustaches. That's the other thing I'm noticing. There's like.
Well, I started that.
Did you?
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, Matt was so happy to MC. You can see in his face.
That's one hell of a mullet. That's all I'm gonna say too.
Yeah.
You wore it well.
Yeah. And then you played with a band, so you also did a concert.
Right, that was with Ross and Levine, Billy Ross, Mike Levine, and Mr. Rucker on drums.
Yeah.
And you want to tell them about this crazy thing that we attempted to do?
Yeah, that was Willie's idea. He wanted to have the Guinness World Record of the most bass players in one band. So we got every student that showed up out of the audience up on stage and played Purple Haze with Will Lee.
Wow.
And at the time, I hope he's tuning in, he may not be, there was a great rock fusion player at UM named Chris Clementi, and he brought his Steinberger, and we plugged him into the twin reverb, and he played the Hendrix solo.
Wow.
And Will was like, what? And we had Jack playing drums on that, I think, too, right?
Yes, we did.
But yeah, we had I think we had like 20 bass players on.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, except for Jack, I think they were all bass players. And
Right.
here's I guess that's Chiano Cam. Right there.
That's Will.
Yeah. And then I have a couple more. And I think this was from the second year. You did this great lecture on
Oh, I forgot about that.
different basses.
Yep.
And were those all your basses?
Most of them are mine. I think I borrowed a couple.
Wow.
That's it. That's at least what I told my wife.
Right.
Not counting the upright.
Right. And then here's from the third year with
with Will and with Gary and Victor.
and Jimmy. Yep. So and we were really rocking those hats, weren't we?
Telling you.
Yep. So anyway, thank you for coming up with that brilliant idea. And it was, one of in my career that definitely ranks as one of the highlights and things that I'm most proud of.
And one of the unsung heroes of that, and hopefully he's tuned in, is John Giorgini.
Absolutely.
Because he stepped up to the plate and got us all the facilities to
Yes,
use.
he did.
And the school had their insurance. I mean, now I know how hard that stuff is to do. They don't want anybody there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he kind of took it on his shoulders to make it so that we could do all that, and he had to reserve all those rooms and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it takes a village, as they say, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have two burning questions. One was, how did you meet? Not everybody knows that your wife is also a bass player, Terry.
Yep.
How did you meet your wife, Terry?
At the University of Miami, we were freshmen together.
Oh.
I thought she was hot, and she had a bow case, to put your bass bow in a hard case. And she thought I was an idiot because I didn't have a bow case. I just kind of carried.
Yeah, sounds like it was meant to be.
I just kind of like walked around like a walking stick, okay, I'm here.
Like you were blind.
But so we met that way, but I don't think we dated until the second year, maybe the middle of the second year. And then she,
Terry, we're going to fact check this with you.
That's true.
Okay.
No, it took us a long time to date because he lived in Broward for a while, so I wouldn't see him.
Okay.
And then he finally moved to the campus.
Right.
And then I had double locks on my door because she wouldn't leave me alone.
Okay. I think that's the first fact that's yeah. Mm-hmm.
David,
fake.
That's one of my dad's lines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. Dave Fernandez is watching, and he says, you're always the best dressed on stage. And then he said, please do your Bee Gees impression.
Oh, hell yeah. Come on.
Thanks, Dave. Which one? Which kind?
Maybe it's.
Can you do all of them?
It says, and flute player warming up.
The flute warming up is do they have a stick or anything?
What do you need?
A stick.
Don't worry.
Stick,
Don't worry. We have
a
plenty of
stone.
people to help you
I'll just
here.
pretend this is a flute, okay? So, where's the camera?
Hold on. Let's get him in solo mode
Yeah.
here. You don't. Wow. Slightly disturbing.
So we would do gigs with Hal, right? And this was like serious business, high dollar gigs, high profile. And he's got the Three Stooges on the band standing behind him. Dave Fernandez, me, and the quiet one, Mr. Rucker. Right. So Dave would be playing a flute solo, and I would be playing bass and do that. I would take, play with my left hand and go, and he would like not be able to play. He would just crack up.
Yeah, and I think he's cracking up right now. There you go. Yeah.
Miss.
Let's do. I'll tell you. Let's do another greeting.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. You had something in mind, didn't you?
Well, we just talked about the Bee Gees, and so I was just thinking maybe this would be that, but only if you do the Bee Gees
That's
impression.
right. And do the impression. Do you want to do it before or after the clip?
Play the clip first. I have to know which clip you're using.
And this is just an excerpt. We just put a couple things together, and they are now excerpts. Let me bring them up here. Or did I?
Did you?
Oh, here it is. There it is. And 1 second. I got to do a little fun.
Talked with me and you smiled. Said, come and walk one more mile. Now for once in your life, you're alone. But you ain't got a dime. There's no time for the phone. I just gotta get a message to you. Hold on, hold on. One more hour and my life will be through. Hold on, hold on.
Amazing.
Okay, so those clips were both in reverse chronological order. The second one was
You're
from
welcome.
1993. It's a music talk show in Paris. It's one of the first times I think I went to Europe with them. I think that was our first gig over there. And I remember it because it was 5 days after my eldest brother got married. So I went to New York and with my whole family, and then they flew back to Miami, and I flew to Paris by myself and met the band over there. And it was the most horrifying flight of my life.
Oh, wow.
747, and as we were landing, the pilot was told to pull up because there was a jet that hadn't taken off on the runway. So I didn't know that 747s could go like that, but that's what he did. But everything after that was cool. That show was fun. There were a bunch of, Harry Connick Jr. was on that show with us, and what was the African group?
Oh, Lady Black,
It was
Smith.
Bryce Wassey.
Brass Weissy.
Oh, okay.
Which Rucker lost his mind because he loved the drummer, you know. But so that was that gig, and those two clips are great because they look really good, they sound really good.
And y'all are featured. You're,
and I got some camera time on that one. Yeah.
And Rucker too.
Oh, you guys sounded great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the you know, the whole thing about growing up with different styles. You're able to do a gig like that,
Right.
and convincingly, and play what needs to be played.
Right. Exactly.
So I was,
Dave Fernandez did say it's the impression you do every time we play with the modern genitalia.
he brings the theater down.
Oh no.
I guess you're not going to get away from doing this impression if that's.
No, Dave. But here's where it comes from. As you all have already heard me do, I've also been known to do a little bit of a Jerry Lewis every once in a while.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Every once in a while.
So the Barry scream is not that far for me. It's like part of the same voice. Between going, lady, and it's that same kind of thing. So what Dave is talking about is we do this gig with these guys, 4 singers from, they're mostly from California. One guy lives in New York now. And they do like Motown and Frankie Valli and all like that kind of stuff. And they're all great singers. And we do the gig together. And they're gracious enough. One of the songs they do in the show is How Deep Is Your Love? And they always acknowledge the fact that I actually played with the Bee Gees, and the audience goes crazy and all that, which they obviously don't have to do. So here comes Dave. So at one show not that long ago, they actually came over and put the mic up and said, "Go ahead, Matt, sing like the Bee Gees." So I did that, and they all lost it. And then the last show we did with them was like 2 days before the pandemic hit, and sometimes I would go, "Huh." And sometimes I would make it like a longer.
And extended 12-inch version.
Well, I made the mistake of asking David, should I do long or short? And this wasn't what I got. Oh, long. So I took a deep breath and I held the note with vibrato as long as I possibly could. And their vases went. And then they broke up because they realized.
Oh my gosh!
So
I do want to say we've had a couple of comments about the bass conference that you were talking about, and so one is from Mark Golub.
Yep.
So he's watching. We've got something from Derek Frank. He says he may have a recording of the Purple Haze somewhere.
Wow! Oh, awesome, Derek.
And Mike Pellerin.
Yes.
That was the first bass seminar was just an amazing experience, he was saying.
And Brad Russell.
And Brad Russell's watching, and he says, I remember reading about the bass conferences in BP Mag. Right, very cool. So, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, the Bee Gees, and that's a great way to get yourself fired. Nice.
Yeah.
Make fun of the boss.
All done affectionately.
Yeah.
I heard from, I think anybody that ever talked to me that played in the band that said they were very great to work.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, they treated us better than most people get treated on those gigs. I mean, we flew to Australia they flew us down a week before the gig.
Nice.
Most people, it's like get on the plane, land, 20
Go to
hours
sound
later,
check.
and go straight to the gig, to the sound check,
Yeah.
and then after the gig, get on the plane home. We didn't have to do any of that kind of stuff. By the time Steve and I got to do that gig, it was well into their career, and they had already made those mistakes. So the business, for the most part, was pretty straight ahead, and they didn't really ask us to do anything that they wouldn't do.
Yeah.
Right.
For the most part. Right.
Yeah. That makes the gig nice. It's always nice to be appreciated.
We had another.
And the other thing is, we were the band, right? We were the employees, and they were the Bee Gees. Make no mistake about that.
Of
Right.
course.
And again, we got to hang with them, and everything was cool. But they were very wealthy British pop stars.
Yeah.
So every once in a while, there would be like a Spinal Tap moment that would just be hysterical.
Right.
Right. Here's somebody who wants to say something to you.
Hey, Matt, Dana here. Just wanted to reach out and wish you good luck and celebration for your retirement from teaching. Period. We know you won't stop playing and gigging and making that great music. We've been friends a lot of years, buddy. Just wanted to say congratulations. See you down the road.
Thanks, Dana.
Yeah, I think he might have been in his
RV?
in his RV and like recording.
Yeah. Right. He's got the jump on the retirement thing.
Yeah, God.
Here's one more we'll just throw in here and show a picture that she sent.
Hi, Matt. In honor of your retirement, I wrote you a little ditty. It goes something like this. Matt Bonelli, here you're hanging up your gloves. Had too many years of sparring, direct orders from above. Time to take a long vacation to Australia or Peru. Yes, you've earned it, and I'm sure that all your students will miss you. Congratulations, Matt.
Back in the car.
She's great.
Yeah. They're here. Check out this pic that she sent.
This is a good one.
Oh yeah, no, this is some special stuff right here.
Yeah.
Look at this.
And this, I think, has both Rucker in it and also
Lindsay.
a very sexy Hal Roland
Uh-huh.
sporting a guitar.
This was a project that Lindsay did, and we all played on it.
The Buzzcocks, right? Or something?
Buzzwords. He wrote all the songs, and,
You know.
and he produced the whole record. And we had a blast doing it. Unfortunately, we only did like 2 or 3 gigs. The reunion tour is coming up, though.
I think I heard I think I have a CD, and it was really good, actually.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
It's Lindsay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loved it.
And she also sent this one with. I guess she took this picture.
Oh yeah, that's what Joe. That's in the Grove, I think.
Yeah,
right?
it says Coconut Grove.
Oh
on
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Is that Olben?
It's Olben. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
And Brian Murphy.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she sent those, and everybody's there. There's more. Listen, there's more talk. There's more clips. There's a few more little video things. There's pictures, but we do have more live music, and we want to get that in before it gets too late, right?
right.
So let me go reorganize
Okay,
that,
so you're
and
going to
you can do
reorganize
some
it.
stuff.
I'm going to do the same thing. Should I do the same spiel?
Yes, sure.
I know it's boring, but it needs to be done because we want everybody to feel some serious love here. So I will, and let me put it normal. I need to do that, I need to do that, I need to do that, and then I can do this. Okay, so once again, our virtual tip jar is open, and everybody, if you can, we would love to send Matt and the guys home tonight with a lot of coins in their pockets. So if you could support the musicians, the first $100 will be matched. What you have to do is the number that you send it to is 44321, and you text the message tip jar. Number 44321, message is tip jar. You'll get another message back that will tell you, will give you another link that you will actually use to securely donate your money. And all of the money, every single penny, goes to the musicians at the end of the night, just so you know. And that's that. I won't talk any more about that. Nikki is furiously getting the guys ready. Peter Graves said, Matt, Peter Graves says, I thought you retired 30 years ago. And Jesse Jones Jr. says, before the show ends, I want to remind Matt to bring the blue bass with the blue suit to the gig this weekend.
Is this for Kathleen?
Yes. So yeah, we got a whole bunch of fun comments going on. And another thing I would love to say is next week we will be featuring the one and only Leonard Rutledge live from the Jazz. No, I don't think it's at the Jazzport. I think it's at I think it might be my house. So live from my living room, I guess it is. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We always love doing this live, even though it's like crazy. The live shows for me is the most fun, getting to hear live music. And we're going to actually be adding to the trio that you first heard in the beginning of the show. We're adding a whole bunch of things. Okay, so Matt, if you can hear this, Roger Reynolds is watching, and he says, so as a vocalist student at U of M, I just want to say that you were always such a hoot to be around, so supportive and a great example of the perfect mix of professionalism and buffoonery. So all of these, it's the way Matt lives his life. He is extremely professional, but always a really fun hang and great to have on a gig. Great spirit and energy. How we doing over there?
I'll need another minute.
Okay, well, I'm just going to add the guys in. Oh, hold on. You cut off Kathleen's head, so I'm going to go fix that.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And you can keep doing your stuff, but you can talk a little.
Can I talk a little bit?
Yeah, do you mind?
Well, I'm no Wendy Peterson, as you're about to find out there. Look out. I'm no Wendy Peterson.
Let me at least move this back. Okay.
Can I talk and hear you?
Not too much.
Okay.
Yeah. Could they hear?
I would talk anyway.
Okay, so while you're fussing, this is Professor Randy Dollahan.
Randall Dollahan on guitar.
This is the infamous Joe Donato.
I can actually. I can actually put names up. Kathleen Donato, and of course Joe Donato. Steve Rucker is in the back.
And this is the only double bass in the house that I'm allowed to play.
Randall.
If you didn't hear, I said that's the only double bass in the house he's allowed to play.
Really? The other ones are off. Off limits. Okay, I like it.
It's for the real bass player.
Let me make sure that we're hearing you, Kathleen.
Hello.
Oh,
Check.
yeah, we
1 2.
certainly are.
Test. Okay. 1 2.
Okay.
A rumble. It could be the speakers from hearing us, which we're going to take out soon.
Like now. Well, this is it. This is the Matt Bonelli Quintet.
All right.
Sextet. So bad at math.
Stars in your eyes, love never made a fool of you. You used to be too wise. Hey there, you on that high flying cloud, though he won't throw forget him. Him with his nose in the air. He has you dancing on a string. Break it and he won't care. Won't you take this advice I hand you like a mother? Or are you not seeing things too clear? Are you too much in love to hear? Is it all going in one ear and out the other? Stars in your eyes, love never made a fool of you. You used to be too wise. Hey there, you on that high flying cloud, though he won't throw a crumb to you, you think someday he'll come to you. Better forget him. Him with his nose in the air. He has you dancing on a string. Break it and he won't care. Won't you take this advice I hand you like a mother? Or are you not seeing things too clear? Are you too much in love to hear? Is it all going in one ear and out the other? Hey there, hey there, hey there. Yo, thank you.
whoa, Cannonball Adderley. It's the blues, baby.
Oh, yeah. Yes. The Matt Bonelli Quintet. Yep. Got Joe Donato, Randall Dollahan. You have Kathleen Donato, Steve Rucker, Hal Rowland, and our very own Matt Bonelli on bass.
So we are going to yet again, we're going to go back to our interview. This was not a great idea. We should have just done the whole interview thing at once, but now we're going to have to go back to...
Oh, but that's quite all right. We've got a nice clip that'll take us through it.
Yeah, so you want to discuss what this is before we play it?
This is Tom Lippencott's contribution. Let me just get this out of the way here. All right, so let's see what we have here. Oh, we have all the applause, all the accolades coming in.
So good. Clap, clap, clap. Wonderful.
All right. So let's check out Lippencott's contribution. Let me bring that up. Do you want to do the tip jar thing?
Yeah, I mean, if I've done it a whole bunch of times.
Okay.
It's scrolling now. Please, if you can, show love to our wonderful, fantastic plethora of musical talent. I was just realizing that, up there on stage, Matt Bonelli has taught all of my favorite bass players. Randall has taught all of my favorite guitar players in town. And Steve has taught all of my favorite drummers, so it's kind of like, it's just this amazing thing.
They should retire too.
Yeah, so you guys, well, Randall beat you all to it. Steve is next. They're gonna take Steve out
in a straitjacket.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, let's go to Lippencott's contribution, and then we'll get back to the interview.
Among other situations, I played with Matt for many years in Hal Rowland's band, with Hal, Matt, Steve Rucker, Dave Fernandez, and Iracema Santana. And for anybody who is familiar with this cast of characters, you can imagine what kind of hijinks went on some of the gigs with that band. And Matt was well known at the time for liking to kind of show off his dancing skills during gigs. And there was one night I'll never forget where Matt was kind of sashaying around the stage, really hamming it up during some tune, and eventually made his way all the way up to the front where Hal's keyboard was set up, kind of, taking the spotlight away from Hal. And as Matt danced around to the delight of the other band members, he didn't notice that his bass cable was pulled tight and was pushing against Hal's keyboard stand. And as Matt continued to get even more animated with his dance moves, pretty soon, of course, the precarious situation of the keyboard became completely a disaster. And there was a huge bang, and Hal's keyboard ended up on the floor. And of course, the music stopped completely. Hal was totally stunned, and I've never seen a look of sheepishness on Matt Bonelli's face like I did at that exact moment. Luckily for Matt, Hal was kind of desensitized to monkey business going on in the bandstand due to the antics of people like Dave Fernandez and Matt himself. So I don't think that Matt suffered too many bad repercussions from that event, but it was definitely one of the funniest moments I've ever experienced on stage with Matt Bonelli. Another story I'd like to tell about Matt, that he was actually responsible for my getting back into college and university teaching in 2002. He talked me into applying at Miami-Dade College where he was teaching. I had lived in Palm Beach County for a number of years and was getting ready to move down to Hollywood. I happened to mention that on a gig to Matt, and he said, well, you should consider coming down and teaching at Miami-Dade. And thought, oh, I haven't taught college in years, and I didn't really think it was for me. And he said, well, you could pop down the turnpike, teach, and you could try it out and see what you think. And if you don't like it, you can always quit. So, what have you got to lose? And he kind of talked me into it. And I thought, yeah, why not? So little did I know, as soon as I started teaching, I started realizing, pretty quickly just how fulfilling and meaningful teaching is for me, and particularly college and university teaching, and not to mention that it's a great steady source of income for a musician. So it's ended up since then becoming a major part of my life. And I'll never forget the debt I owe to Matt for recognizing that potential in me that I didn't even know was there. So I'd like to thank Matt for all the opportunities he's given me over the years, and for all the fun music and laughs we've shared in many different musical and teaching situations. MDC definitely won't be the same without you, Matt, but I wish you all the best in your retirement. You've certainly earned it. When the call went out to come up with some video of Matt Bonelli, it just so happened that I had recently come across this old video that I'd forgotten about, of a concert that I did at a store called Glades Guitars back in 2008. This was actually on December 29th, 2008. Glades Guitars was a great little guitar store that was owned by my late friend Steve Wildey, and for a while he was putting on concerts there. So I did a concert there with a trio, and I got Matt to play bass, and I got my good friend Dave Shanzer, who's a great percussionist, to round out the trio on percussion. And on this video, we're actually playing a composition of Matt's that's called 9/21/87, which is actually the date of Jaco Pastorius's death, and this is a tune, that Matt wrote in dedication to Jaco. And I thought it was a great tune, and I'd kind of forgotten about this performance. So it was, a real opportune thing that this request went out right after I had found it. So here it is.
Yeah. Very, very cool.
Thanks, Tom. I completely forgot about that whole thing.
We were trying to find out what year that was, that performance.
He said, I think it was maybe late 90s, early this century.
What are you talking about?
Whatever year this is, I don't. He probably remembers more than I do. That place was only open a couple of years. It was on Glades Guitars was like a boutique guitar shop, and then he had a little room that he would do clinics and performances. And Tom got the chance to go up there and play, and had Dave and I come up and play with him. It was a lot of fun.
Nice. Great song.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have, I had said at the top of the show that we had a bunch of pictures, lovely shots that Philip Avello has taken of you over the years. So let's take a look at a few of those, because he does really great work, and you're clearly a good subject.
Very nice.
Is that coming up? Yeah. So here's, I think you're playing like the most important note in bass history right there. I believe.
Actually, that one might be the most important.
And here with some hoodlums.
Yep. Those are all WD&A. Right?
Yeah.
Hey, get the mic a little closer, Matt. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's just it should pick up more than it does. Okay.
You're gonna make him do your job?
Yes.
I got it.
All right.
There's the voice.
Oh, wait a minute. This might be the most important note.
There you
There
go.
it is. I don't know what
divine
note it is, but it's
inspiration.
really important.
Divine inspiration.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. You can't escape these gentlemen.
Nope. Fortunately.
Right, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. I'll put a couple more here. Was this is a different one, or is this in color?
Oh.
Oh, look at us taking us time to load. It's that.
It's so good.
Matt, I never realized you're that intense, man.
That's my Andre Bocelli face.
I like it. I like it.
Oh my God.
Yes, the trolley. We'll end on the trolley shot. How
Okay.
about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so he's taken a lot of pictures over the years, and they're all lovely, and
They're awesome.
hey, did you miss the live playing during the pandemic?
I did. And I still do, because we're all fortunate that things are opening up, but it's not back to where it would have been.
Right.
But I've told the story a few times. For many years, Tom just said that gig was from 2008.
2008. Okay.
I would take like a week off or 2 weeks off in July, and we would go away or whatever we were going to do, and I would just not play a note, because it would be slow and it wouldn't be a lot of gigs or whatever. But just to give, first of all, my back and my hands a break, but also my brain. Sometimes between school and gigs and whatever else would come up, I would get so saturated with music that I never felt ready to do anything, you know?
Yeah.
For two reasons. One was we had my mother staying with us and her health was failing. But also because of that, I didn't play for 3 months. And I missed all the things about playing music and being in front of people that we all love. But other than that, I didn't really miss it at all. And it took me a while. I think it was probably August maybe before I actually even started to like find where I left the basses in the house. And I was like, wait, I think it's the one in this closet over here.
Yeah.
And of course, the most painful recovery is the double bass, you know.
Yeah,
and I
course.
still feel like, you know, Nikki, on any instrument, you all know that, you know, you can practice for 2 hours at home and it's barely equals playing 1 hour on the gig.
Right.
You know, as far as intensity and endurance and all that stuff. So that is, for me, it's always been a painstaking event, and I'm still working on it. The problem is my hands and my back are not cooperating as much as they used to when I was younger, but
Yeah.
I'll figure out a way to deal with it.
Well, you sound fine to me.
Yeah. You know, so you wrote that song for Jocko. Do you do much writing?
I do not. I did a bunch when I was in school and a little bit after. I actually wrote that song in about 30 minutes after I found out he died.
Oh, wow.
Everything else is like I write 8 bars and they stick it in a drawer, and like 2 years later I go back and find it. And, well, that might work as a bridge over here.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things I hope to do a little bit
Right.
more of now is maybe do a little bit more writing.
Nice.
I did want to have Hal and Steve talk maybe a little bit.
Oh,
Do
but
you
we're
guys
out of
wanna-
time, aren't we?
Do you have anything? Do you have something? Do you guys have anything to say? Come on. I mean, I think go, Joe. One of you go, and then the other go, and the Joe.
Or go join him on the couch. You
Yeah,
all,
find a way. I mean,
y'all can make room.
Can 3 people fit on that couch? We're gonna find out.
Well, if I wasn't here, 3 people could. But
This might be the highlight of the evening. It's like that Marx Brothers movie where they cram everybody in the room.
I just got to get a message to you.
Okay, don't kick the mic stand because that's making your feedback. Okay.
Feeding back.
Yeah.
Oh, I like
you go.
this.
We're
I'm
good.
getting-
We're good.
I like
We're very
it.
close.
We're very close, yes.
I like it. You guys all
No,
together.
it's been fun.
You guys all together are known as Matt Bonelli.
No, Matt is like the Forrest Gump of Miami music because he's been in the, you know, he can tell stories from, you know, before he was in the scene and just arrived and would see, both of these guys say that, you know, like I love to listen to them. They'll just start going through things of what happened back, you know, before I was even here. I mean, I was born.
You weren't even born. You know, bunch of old dudes.
But I, you know, I mean, Matt saw the Beatles at the Yankee Stadium. He saw Shea Stadium. He saw Led Zeppelin live a few times. He's done a lot of, you know, of those kinds of things. But then down in Miami, he's played, you know, with all these, just. He's been in the middle of the music scene. I just think of him as the Forrest Gump of playing.
I mean, that's in the best way.
You know, he's just, you know,
You have any cherries?
with good reason because, you know, you can call on Matt. He knows all the tunes. He brings a lot of humor to the gig, and is very, does everything right. And students should learn from that.
And now an extra keyboard just in case I get carried
Well,
away.
I'm glad you didn't do so good on the piano lessons back early on. That really would have screwed everything up.
By the way, Jason Furman wrote in, of course, Steve wore the show-stealing shirt.
Of course.
Of course.
You know, I really spent some time.
Isn't that what they do for those psychological tests? You see what you were the
Rorschach.
Yes.
It's a Rorschach shirt.
It's like cows
Rorschach.
on acid or something.
Right. So, did you guys meet? Where did you meet Matt, Hal?
Well, I mean, when I came to UM, I knew who Matt was, but he was a couple of years ahead of me in school, and so I saw him play with Stan Samoli and, you know, some of the other groups, and then and both I knew, you know, of course I both knew who they were, but in about 1991 we had a gig at Monty's. I was doing with some other guys. And then a couple of guys left the group, and, you know, Joy was on the gig, and so Joy said, hey, I can get Matt to play. And I'm like, really? I mean, that would be fantastic. You know, so then Matt started playing with us.
And they couldn't find a drummer.
And then the drummer left.
Yeah.
And then
Matt. I called him. I wonder if Steve's available.
I actually had another drummer that I was playing with at the time that I actually really wanted to do the gig. And Matt was like, nope, Steve's going to do it. Yeah, that's it. There's no question.
Nice.
And I was like, great.
And the rest is history.
Clearly
that was a great gig, too.
Now, here's the funny thing, though. Who did I replace in the band?
Well,
Eddie Mena.
Was he playing? Was it the Uwe? Was he playing?
No,
bass?
somebody was playing left-hand bass. I think.
Oh,
Al was
that's
playing
right.
left-hand bass.
Yeah, but Eddie was on the gig too. That's
Eddie was on.
Lindsay replaced Ed.
That's right. That's it.
That's what it was.
And Steve, I guess you guys met at school.
Oh, we go way back. So we were both playing gigs in the Grove.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is when it starts going all over the place. Go ahead, go for it. Yeah.
John Alexander, right?
John Alexander, right. Yeah, Johnny A. Because we were both working in the Grove and used to go see Matt at the Jamestown, right? With Kepler, and I was working down the street, and God, man, we've been playing together since.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Yeah, a while, but a lot of different places. And I want to, in front of this audience and everything, apologize to Matt because he was talking about the Bee Gees gigs where we'd have a stadium concert on Saturday, so that fly us in like Sunday before, right? And I'm this just rabid tourist guy, right? It's like, Matt, we're in Paris. Let's go. And so
let's go to Louvre.
We go over here and go over here, and about 5 or 6 hours into it, Matt's like, "No, I'm going back." No, but we haven't seen Arc de Triomphe, and there's like, no, I'm going back now, and to take a nap, right? And sometimes we were so wasted by the time the gig rolled around on Saturday, we could hardly play from sightseeing. That was the great thing about that gig.
Oh
Hey,
my God.
That was hard work if you can get it.
Yeah.
And then there was the New Year's Eve gig, right?
Which New Year's
the
Eve
2000?
That we no, not that gig. Matt and I drove together on a gig. We played this New Year's Eve gig. It was great.
Okay, Mom, I'm coming. Wait.
I don't remember anything about the gig, but I just remember we're driving home and we're talking. We're just like gabbing. And
I'm driving.
Matt's driving, and all of a sudden, wait, something's wrong with the truck. Ran out of gas on New Year's Eve.
Wow.
It's like
Golden Glades.
Hopefully on the way back from the gig.
We had to crawl down this embankment to a gas station.
Nice.
And you got to throw those things.
Bought a gas can for like $35.
That's
right?
Yeah, nice.
Held a half a gallon of gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's always nice when you meet, when you get the right group of people together, both musically and obviously, you have fun before and after the gig, and then you make music together.
Yeah.
That's the best situation.
Yeah.
That you can hope for.
I can remember, like when I was about 14 or 15, I went to this class of some sorts where you write down your goals in life, and one of the main things I wrote was that I really want to be able to play music at the best level I can possibly play with people that are my best friends.
Right.
And so I feel like that's something that I was lucky enough to experience, in this life.
Yeah, we had some great times.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean,
and lots of laughs.
Lots of laughs, and you got to give Hal credit because Hal was the leader man, right? And
he was.
And
I had to ignore everything that was going on around me.
Right.
And
behind Hal was Matt and I just like doing all.
Yeah, and Dave Fernandez is doing like kick lines over on the side.
Right.
Tom Lippincott is throwing jokes back and forth.
Oh man.
So I had to ignore all of that and actually make the gig survive till the end.
So that we could get paid,
So we get paid.
Of course.
That's the only way I could make sure that they would come back for the next one.
Adult.
But you asked me about playing music and all that. The one thing that I do miss, like when I worked first, when I first came to town, really started doing gigs, I worked with Joe and Randall. But just back at that time period, we would play the gig, whatever it was, from 8 to 12 or 9 to 1 or whatever. And then there were all these other places that had bands that we could go hear somebody else's first set. Or I was telling Randall the other day, I did a gig at the Eden Rock where I used to go in early because the band before was so good. It was Joe DiOrio and Pete Volmers and Wally Cirillo and Ben Brown and Danny Gottlieb. I used to go in and set up early so I could hear them play their last set.
Right.
Now that's one thing that we're kind of missing. You know, we have places that you can go, you can, plan to go certain place to hear somebody, but you don't have as much going on close by,
Right.
and usually the hours are all the same for the most part.
Yeah, and steady gigs.
Steady gigs.
I mean, we were working 5 hours a night, 5 nights a week for years and years, and that just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, roads like Main Highway where there was like 3 or 4 places that would have bands playing, or I don't know, where else is it?
Or the whole airport, Lejeune Road,
Yeah,
right
the
by the
Lejeune
airport.
Road, right.
There must have been 20 clubs, right, Joe? That had
At least.
that had all kinds of music too.
Yeah.
Well, let's. I do want to bring Joe Donato on before Hal and Steve leave. I want to say I can't look at this image of you guys without thinking of Mount Rushmore for some reason.
I thought we dragged. No, wait a minute.
Mount Dragmore.
Mount Dragmore.
There
Yeah.
you go.
All right.
Anyway, Hal Rowland and Steve Rucker, ladies and
Okay,
gentlemen.
let's go. Let's give Joe a chance to get
Thank you,
on.
gentlemen.
Yeah, man.
More to come.
Yeah.
Giuseppe.
Hey.
Joseph.
Give me a little kiss.
Woo!
We're Italian.
Where you been? No, you're Italian. I'm Sicilian.
Oh. Uh-oh.
But it's similar. It's similar. You see, we have a lot of things in common. The Italians and the Sicilians. We know people by what they do, their last names, their surnames. Like you're Bonelli. That's the roots of that word is good. Good. I call you my good humor man. Because everything, even when you invited me here, to play, you said, Joe, I'd like you to play Soul Eyes. You can play it on sopranino, soprano, tenor, sackbut, crumb horn, flute. How about the nose flute? Anything you want to do, Joe. So, I said, yeah, Matt, you bet. I'll be there. So, you're a good man.
So are you. Good friend.
Yeah. Where did we first meet? Or do you remember the first gig we played?
I want to say it was Les Jardins, but I think it was something before that, right?
I don't remember.
I think it might. I mean, I met you. Oh, the first time I heard you play was Dave Drubin's Blue Shirt senior recital. You played I Feel Good.
I Feel Good.
That was the first time I met you. But I think the first time I worked with you was at Les Jardins with Randall and Turnip Greens, and Gerber.
That was after I fired Curtis Lundy.
Yes. And then, Joe liked to have small groups. So there are only about 25 people on the gig. It was Randall and Mike Gerber, and then eventually Mike Levine, and Turnip Greens was the drummer, and myself. And then he had a cast of singers and dancers and contortionists and comedians. And who?
Iron Jaw.
Iron Jaw. Treetop. He had all these characters that would come through, and it was like one of the best shows ever. But you'd have to come back because it was never the same way twice. It was always some other guy came in or somebody else was there, whatever.
Yeah.
What about the guy who rolled in the broken bottles that night?
Obadiah. Now he was supposed to crash all the rum bottles and then lay on them and roll on them while the music is playing. The thing is that something went wrong and he started bleeding all over. He was bleeding. I saw him last week at a funeral. Obadiah, he was there, and
has he healed?
Oh boy, we've had some characters. Huh?
Yeah. But that was I learned a ton on that gig because it was like, what can I expect to happen tonight? everything. You know,
Yeah.
I have no idea. And people would come in and sit in, and they would not know what key they were going to sing a song. And fortunately, Randall would always figure it out first. You know?
Yeah.
But it was. But it was, it was an amazing experience, and I also that's where I met Will Lee, because he used to come down and see you with his dad.
Yeah.
He came to the gig a couple times. That's when I really.
His dad brought me here.
That's right.
His dad came to Houston to see if the school that I was attending, which was a religious school, a Baptist school, and he was going to see if we were up to the accreditations to be a college, and so he says, does anyone improvise and know like I Love You, Cole Porter? So I said, yes. Of course, I was thinking of the old I love you, I love you, what more can I say? I can play the hell out of that. But he didn't want that. He wanted the Cole Porter one, which was, tricky. But, I listen, do the best you can, and that was my audition tape to get here. And so I owe everything to Dean Bill Lee.
Yeah.
Nice.
And Matt, I love you.
I love you too, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Joe Donato, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Donato. Hey, we have another greeting for you here.
Okay.
Matt, what's up, man? Hey, I was here. Where were you? Those of you who don't understand, that's this guy that used to come and see us play, and he'd stand in the back of the club and he'd go. And then he would come up and totally drunk and say that to me most of the time. If I wasn't there the previous week, he'd come up and tell me the next week when I showed up to the gig. He noticed I wasn't there. So we always do that whenever we see each other. Matt, man, congratulations on, getting your pension and all that stuff from the school. You certainly deserve it, and those kids were really lucky to have you as a mentor there, because they couldn't get better advice from a guy. I mean, you got the whole music end of it and the whole personal end of it, and everything all together. So they learned from the right guy. Man, I wish I could come down to this thing, but I got some personal issues going at the house here. I won't get into that stuff, but it's all gonna be cool. Dude, I hope you're not gonna go away because I really, it's one of those things, like, I know if Matt shows up to the gig, it's just gonna be easy and it's gonna be fun. So I hope I keep seeing you on things where we get to play together, because it's just always a blast, and it's great to hang, and it's great music. So what more could you ask for? Everybody that doesn't know, I've known Matt, and I've been seeing Matt since I very first got to Miami. And when I wasn't even working yet, I'd go and see these bands, and Matt was the guy that was in every good band that was in Miami. And it was in Kepler, which was with Randall Dollahan and Frank Gravis, not Frank Gravis, but David Roitstein and all these guys. And then Joe Donato's band was like another one. And then the two guys I would see on every gig were Matt Bonelli and Mike Levine. And it's just been, from then, mid-1970s till now, he's been, one of the top bass players on my list anyway, and everybody else's too, I think. And one of everybody's favorite people. So, congratulations. Great achievement, man. All right, happy retirement, but please just stick around for us, all right? Bye.
I second
Thanks,
that.
Lindsay.
I second that. And you know what the interesting thing that he said there is you're one of everybody's favorite people, and that is really the truth. I mean, there is not one person that if I say your name to, that doesn't just have a huge smile on their face, because that's, you bring joy that's like, you just, you see you and you just know something good's going to happen. So we definitely thank you and are thankful for that, for sure.
Yeah.
So one thing that we haven't really talked to all that much about, I mean, we've kind of touched on it, Miami-Dade, but you really were such a huge presence there for so long, and you sent us some pictures of your students and different things that were going on. So we want to just kind of take time to show that.
Okay.
I guess this is the Matt Bonelli here that they're gonna all miss.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about these pictures that.
Well, that one is I think we just had a sound check before a rehearsal, and I let the band go, like change their clothes or something, and I'm just getting logistics with lighting and sound people, and I think one of the trumpet players took that picture.
Of course. And now these are no particular order for me, so.
That's like 2 years ago. That's my combo class. It was actually a really good class. The drummer's still around. I think he plays some of the Wednesdays now at the Fish House, Marvin Clason.
Cool.
And the other guys, the piano player is in Berkeley now, and I'm not too sure what the other guys are doing.
Nice. So you were teaching classes, combos.
I had the jazz band, a couple rhythm section class, a combo or two, depending on when. I did. We had some R&B ensembles. I did one of those one time.
Cool.
And then I would do like a jazz history class for non-music people. Although the music majors would take that class too.
Right.
And that ended up being a lot of fun to teach, because the kids would have to come to concerts and write like papers. Yeah. And it was funny how some of them would the electric cello in the back sounded really good. But some of the kids would really hear some music for the first time and make some really insightful comments and critiques about the music.
Right.
The other thing that's the same group for the most part, different sax player. I had opportunities where we get phone calls to bring music around the community. So this is at Gusman, the Olympia Theater.
Nice.
We would have the Honors College induction there. So I would bring them there just to get them to play in a real venue. The piano players got to play a 9-foot piano,
Right.
Great experience for them. So we always grabbed a picture when we
Nice.
did that.
Let's see, we have.
This is Rick Katz again. This is Jazz at Jackson. It's the same nucleus group. It was Black History Month, and Brenda consented to come, and Brenda Alford, and host and MC, and she even sang with the group, which brought giant smiles to their face.
Of course. Boy, there's so many different groups here.
The other thing that I did, this is kind of a remnants of the jazz band anyway. At the end of the year, at the end of the semester, there was a little neighborhood pizza place called Papa Piccolo's in Coconut Creek, and I would take them there and buy them pizza from. We would just hang and talk about stuff that we never got to talk about in class.
Very, very cool.
Those are 3 singers. Wendy knows who they are. They were in Hal's R&B group, and I think this is their concert.
I think I got to teach all of those.
I think you did, yeah.
Nice.
Fun. Oh.
This was a lot of fun, and hopefully this will happen again. The guy in the center is Luis Gomez. He's the bass instructor at FIU, and he has a thing called Mia Bass that he's started, and he's bringing in people to do workshops and clinics, and trying to get like bass groups. 2 years ago, we did I think it was like a 40-piece bass ensemble. Anyway, one of the things he had me do was talk about jazz and doubling and all that. So we brought in, if you look closely, that's Jackson King in the center of the picture in the back. and to the right of the girl next to me is Jack Shiano. So I brought them in, and we played a little bit and kind of demonstrated different things that a bass player can do or should do.
Right.
So we just took a group picture after the workshop.
Nice. Oh.
That's self-explanatory. Mr. Maggio to my right in the picture, or to my left, myself and the great Mark Colby, and Jack Shiano. And Mark was going to be in town, so I graciously agreed to come out and play for the kids, and he happened to bring his favorite piano player with him, so we had a blast, and they went nuts with the kids.
Nice.
Let's see here.
God. Oh.
That one you weren't supposed to get. That's my mom eating.
Well, somehow it made my way.
But you know what? I wouldn't have gotten any of this stuff done without her.
You wouldn't have been here without her.
That's correct.
Thanks, Mama Bonelli.
Yeah. More dinner hangs?
More dinner hang. This is at what used to be called the Omni Hotel. I think it's the Hilton now, downtown. And they do, the college does a huge event every year. It's like 1,200 people. It's like a charity. It's like a fundraiser of some kind.
Right.
And the excuse is it's the faculty, not honors. They honor like 6 faculty a year for like achievements. So same thing. Can you bring music? So I would bring them there. It was like an all-day event. We'd have to park at Wolfson and take a bus to the hotel, and they got to eat, and it was like real food, so they always loved that. This group too, all great.
You got to teach them early, you know, what to expect on gigs.
Well, that was part of it.
What kind of food?
Can we eat? Can we eat? Can we eat? No, we can't eat yet.
Yeah. You know, there's more pictures than we have time. I'll show one more, and then this is kind of a nice.
That was early on. That was a workshop that Marco Malsinko came down and did for us. And Zildjian picked up part of the tab for him to come down. Nice. So he said the only requirement was we need to take a picture with all the kids. So we hid the Paiste cymbals and took two Zildjian cymbals and took the picture.
Nice.
But there's Tom Lippincott on the side there too.
Yeah.
I thought Jack was in this picture somewhere. He may have taken the picture.
May have taken the cymbals.
No, he definitely took the cymbal.
Yeah, so anyhow, you know, there's no way that we can cover everything.
Right.
But, you know, like so many people have said here, we've all been through the universities and the colleges ourselves, most of us, and, you know, the importance of that teacher, that one that inspires you, that makes you feel comfortable, that you feel is there for you, that you have a connection with, that's not just doing a job. That's super important, and without fail, everyone seems to feel that about you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Nikki.
Yeah.
But, you know, I told Wendy before, I was really fortunate because, you know, I didn't start this program. It was there. You know, I have to throw a shout out to Mr. Giorgini. You know what that's all about.
Oh, yeah.
But when I got the job, most of the adjunct faculty, because it really was a one-horse show, you know, I was the only quote-unquote jazz guy. Right. I mean, Randy Tomasello was still teaching there, but not really doing performance stuff, and, you know, other people. But having Sandy Polterak and Mitch Farber and Tom Lippincott and Jack Shiano and all these people, Jason Furman and Dan McGovern, Felix teaching piano, Hal teaching piano, it made my job kind of like all I had to do was say, can we do this? And it happened. You know, I didn't have to explain it or draw a map or do any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And even, I think one of the things that Giorgini was good at is that's what he did with us. You know, he kind of like told you kind of, this is what needs to be done, go get it done. And that's kind of how, you know, you taught there with me, Khalifa and Manny, you know, he never really told us what to do. He just made sure, you know, he'd kick your ass if you didn't do it.
That's
but,
right.
You know, that was so. When I got this position, it was pretty beat up and run down, and it was just for a variety of reasons that don't really matter. And the main thing with the department chair at the time, Rodessa Brandon, was he just wanted to build it back up. He had come from New World, where Gage teaches, and he thought, well, we should be able to get that to happen here. So that was the goal, you know.
Yeah.
And again, I have to thank Whit Seidner and all those guys at Jerry Coker, just to turn that light on for me,
Yeah.
I don't want to leave tonight without talking about, raising money for PSP.
Thank you.
And what you do for them, and you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. My brother John passed from PSP, which is supranuclear palsy. It's a degenerative disease. There's no cure. There's barely a treatment. And basically, your brain stops, this is the layman's term, stops talking to your body. So, it says, shake Steve's hand and your arm doesn't move, Right. But it turns each function off slowly and gradually. So, eventually it's like you forget to swallow,
Right.
You don't know how to cough, So it's a very
cruel,
painful and cruel disease. Yeah. So my sister-in-law, when he was still here, got involved with Cure PSP as a national organization, and we started doing fundraisers around his birthday. And he was there for the first 3, and he hasn't been here for the last 2.
Right.
But we do that, and fortunately, Mike Colber is very gracious and lets us use his place to do it, which is a great venue, and it's centrally located, and it has all the backline stuff, so it's really easy fit. We couldn't do it last year because of obvious reasons, and PSP would prefer that we don't do a live one this year, so we will stream again. We streamed one last year. I will let you guys know, because any advertisement will help. But it's like all the people that you meet along the way are the ones that help. Yeah. Lindsay's been there every year. Randy Emmerich has been there every year. Tony Nicolosi comes every year. Almost nobody ever says no. If they can't come or don't come, it's because they're not in town. So it's a lot of fun. The first year I was in horror, because it's like, what am I going to do if nobody shows up?
Right.
Or what happens if people come and there's nobody for me to play with?
Right.
I can only tell so many jokes. But I've been really, really fortunate, and my sister-in-law has a great family that supports it, and then my nieces and nephews are involved in it. So it's a whole family-run thing. And last year we got a lot of help from PSP. We sent them a bunch of videos that were really poorly done, and they edited them together, and it looked really good on the final product, I should say. So what I'm hoping to do this year is at the end of August, and I don't have a date yet, I'm going to ask all my friends again for some free music. And we're going to go to All That Jazz and record it there, tape it there, and then stream it on the day of the event.
Okay. Excellent. Well, we'd be happy to get it out if we, as well as possible.
Okay, great. Absolutely. And then the event will be on the September 26th, which is his birthday.
Nice.
Well, listen, this has been just a blast. We haven't had a chance to sit down this, informally and have a hang. Right. What it feels like. It just feels like a great big love fest, Right.
Absolutely.
And what do you have words of wisdom now that you're going to your retirement? What are you going to leave? I feel like that Actors Playhouse. If you're at the pearly gates, what will you? No. What are you feeling going forward?
Get me a gig, man.
Of course.
And then the other great line that was, I think this is just from their generation. You'd have to ask Randy Emmerich. This might have been a Wayne Cochran band thing. Is women in rhythm section first. Okay.
Wow.
So when the boat's sinking, you go. I wish I did have any answers to anything. Like I said in the beginning, I've been very fortunate and a lot of dumb luck. Just the right place and the right time. I didn't always look past it, and sometimes I probably should have, but I would find an opportunity and be like, well, that one I think would be fun, and those guys are cool, and they play great, or whatever it was, And most of the time, it's worked out. I've definitely, like everybody else I know in the business, made some mistakes along the way. but it's been a great ride, and I'm still kind of hoping to drive for a little while.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we can't thank you enough, ladies and gentlemen. The wonderful Matt Bonelli.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nikki and Wendy.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure.
And Hal and Steve and Joe and Kathleen and Randall, for sure.
So
Absolutely.
good. Thank you so much.
And Steve and Giselle.
Yep.
Yes, of
Oh, thank you, Steve and Giselle. That's right. Oh,
Absolutely.
that is.
Well, we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the MJC and our partners in crime in support of this wonderful program that we've been doing for nigh on a year now.
There it is.
We could not do this every week without the support of our sister and brother jazz organization. So we want to thank and shed some light on the Sunshine Jazz Organization. And you can always go and check out what's going on with them at their website, sunshinejazz.org. And I know that there was an issue last week with the Sunday brunch, but I was informed that it is on and it is happening this Sunday for sure. And we're going to play a little bit of something that will tell you more about it. So definitely.
Sunshine Jazz Organization is proud to be presenting world-renowned steel pan maestro Othello Molino at weekly Sunday Jazz Brunch from noon to 3 p.m. at KC Healthy Cooking, located on a spacious outdoor patio at 1900 Biscayne Boulevard, serving an excellent gourmet Caribbean menu and great jazz, led by Lloyd Hawkins and Ted McDermott. As Alice Day would say, hope to see your face in the place.
So definitely go check out that on Sunday for Sunday brunch and go to their website, sunshinejazz.org. Our other organization that we throw out big love to is the Gold Coast Jazz Society, and you can check out their website, goldcoastjazz.org. I know for a fact they're going to be putting on a full live season this year. We're very, very excited, and that will start in October, I believe. But keep an eye out on their website. And, sign up for their newsletters, so you'll get notifications if, when tickets go on sale and who's going to be in their season, et cetera, et cetera. And, of course, the Miami Jazz Co-op. And you can find out all about us, miamijazz.org. We are hoping to go live very, very, very soon. Next week, we want to let you know what's going on. We're going to be putting on a live show again with the great Leonard Rutledge singing, and he will be joined by the one and only Nikki Orta on bass.
I'm not as fun to have around as Matt Bonelli, but I'll be on the gig.
Well, we laugh at you for other reasons. And who's on drums?
Abner Torres will be on drums, and Felix Gomez will be on
So
keyboards.
that should be fantastic, and the amazing, smooth, silky vocal stylings, creamy, of Leonard Rutledge. So we look forward to that. Other than that,
this was so fun.
Thank you
everybody,
all.
and thank you out there for sticking with us for a lovely long night. We will see you next Monday with Leonard Rutledge, and then we'll talk about what's coming up after that.
Have a great night.
Good night, everyone.
Yay.